Okay, this is the second part of 7.4. It was finding the inverse of a function. There's always the same couple of steps when you find the inverse of anything ever in math. The first step is always switch the x and the y, and then solve for your new y. That's pretty much it. Sometimes you have to rewrite. If there's an f of x, you'd have to change it to y equals just so you can switch. But basically this is true for any inverse that you ever see ever. Okay, so the first one, I'm going to switch the x and the y, so I get x equals 10 to the y plus 2. And for all of these, it's either in exponential form or in log form. So you ask yourself, is log anywhere in this problem? And if it is, then it's in log form. And if it's not, then it's in exponential form. So is log anywhere in this problem? No. There's a log. This doesn't have one. So that means that this is in exponential form, which is b to the x equals y. So if I want to rewrite that into logarithm form, that would be, that's the log base b of y equals x. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it into log form. So start off with log. The base, notice the base is the b, which is the big number, and over here that's a 10, so it's a log base 10 of y. Well, notice y is what this thing is equal to. So in our case that's x. And then it's equal to x, which is the exponent. So I'm going to look over here, and in our case that's y plus 2. Now, little note, if you have log base 10, you don't really need to write the 10 because a log naturally has a base of 10. So I'm just going to rewrite this as log of x equals y plus 2. I still haven't solved for y. See, step 2 says solve for y. So if you leave it like this, you're not getting to the right complete answer. This is the right first step, but then there's still that second step where you have to solve. So I'm going to subtract 2. Log of x is not a number because I don't know what x is. So this little thing, this whole, that component right there is separate from the minus 2. So you can't combine this and say it's the log of x minus 2. Those two things are separate. So I'm going to write it as y equals the log of x minus 2. And I'm going to kind of leave a little space. You could put parentheses, somehow make it clear that those two things are not both part of the log. That's the final. Okay, that took a long time. Let's look here. Okay, so first, switch the x and the y. Now, ask yourself, is this in log form or is it in exponential form? It doesn't have, or it does have a log, so that means it is in log form. So I'm going to write it in exponential form. So I look up here, and you should have those written down somewhere, or you should have it memorized at some point, or you could just write it on your note card. But right now I'm in log form. I want to rewrite it in exponential form. So I take the little number, that becomes the big base, the x becomes the exponent, equals y. The second step is to solve for y. Well, this is already solved for y. Y equals 5 to the x. You can leave it like this. You could also write it as y equals 5 to the x, like just switch it if you want, but I am totally fine with that because it means the same thing. Okay, so this one, first switch the x and the y. Now, it's in log form, so I want to write it in exponential form. So I start with the 6 as the base. I'm going to move over here. I don't have a lot of space. 6, the x becomes the exponent, and it's equal to y minus 4. I still haven't solved for y, so I just need to add 4. And just like earlier, these two things cannot be combined because I don't know what x is. This is not a number yet. This is still like a variable expression. so I can't add these, I just have to leave it as is. So I'm just going to say y equals 6 to the x plus 4, and you just leave it written like that. One more. Let's see, switch the x and the y. Now, this is an exponential form because there is no log, so that means I want to write it into log form. So I have the log base 4, I have to look up here too, of x equals 3y. I still have not solved for y, so it's a coefficient right now. I'm going to divide by 3, and I'm just going to leave mine like that. Oops, there you go. If you want to get real fancy, you could make this 1/3, because dividing by 3 is the same, so you could say that. I'm fine with that as your answer. Okie doke.